dog did when you asked the dog to go find Hope.
Okay. So we started counterclockwise, and we're coming into the screen from this direction, from the left going to the right, and he hits odor with this vehicle, he hits odor at this vehicle, he keeps going down, and then he hits odor with this vehicle, and no odor on any of the other remaining vehicles at the time.
Okay.
So then...
So as a result of that, what do you do?
Okay. When I run for cadaver odor, because odors have a way of moving based on climatic conditions or terrain, so what I do first is I run the dog to see where the odors are at, because I now need to know how to pinpoint to see where the odor is actually originating from.
Okay.
So I reverse the dog back, and I started working him back up clockwise now along the same line. We detail down the vehicle here, and I get no indication on that return trip for cadaver. I get an indication on the driver's side of this vehicle, and then between the vehicles, and then on the upwind side of the red vehicle.
Okay.
And so when we detailed it down, the final alerts when they came was between the two vehicles here and on the passenger side of the red vehicle.
Okay. And did you later find out what that red vehicle was?
Yes, sir, that was the car belonging to Miss Bergfield.
Okay. Did you know that going into this runner task?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. Now, it's as you look at the picture, you can see that the car has been burned. Did you know that the car had been burned going into this runner task? Do you know?
Not that I remember being specifically told that it had been undergone a fire.
Okay. But you indicated that the dog gave a positive indication to cadaver on the car?
Yes, sir.
Any particular area of the car, or just generally, or?
Generally in that this car was the source of the odor that he was indicating, that he was told to search for, and that he indicated that this is where the point of greatest concentration was for him.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, did you do a second run with him then at that point? And how, first of all, how long in between runs do you take? Is there a resting period? Or?
There's a resting period. I believe in this case, the other handler and myself were splitting up which dog worked, because she also had a dog. So she would do a run, and then I would do a run, and then she would do a run. So in the interim, the dog is resting.
Okay. So you rested Ben for a little while?
Yes, sir.
And then did you do a second run?
Yes, sir.
And what was the second run?
The second run was done on the scent pad of the dress belonging to Miss Bergfield.
Okay. And when you do that kind of a run, you're obviously scenting to a particular scent. Do you give a different command to the dog?
Yes, sir.
What kind of a command do you give?
In this particular case, for article work, it's go find.
Okay, just go find.
Just go find.
Okay. You have the dog smell the scent pad?
Yes, sir.
And then say go find. What did Ben do on that second run?
On this particular run, again, we started counterclockwise. So we came in from this direction, heading this way. The wind, for the information, the wind is also blowing this direction too. It's also blowing from left to right on this at the night of the search. He indicates...
Okay, now, let me stop you there, because you just said the wind was blowing left to right. We're looking at the photograph. If we're looking at it, the right-hand side is clear down on this side, and the left-hand side. So is the wind blowing from left to right in the picture?
The wind is blowing from right to left. So it's blowing this direction, this way across the vehicles.
Okay. All right. Just to make sure. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So when I run Ben in this direction, I get indications on the passenger side, and then between these two vehicles on this side. And I didn't get any other indications on any other vehicles in that line.
Okay. So you got an indication of Paige's scent on Paige's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, then, did you rest Ben after that run?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did Ben do a third run that day?
Yes, sir.
What was Ben's third run? What did that consist of?
The third one was also a scent matching exercise, and that one was done with the scent pad belonging to the brown shorts that I had produced from the brown shorts.
And those are Lester Jones's brown shorts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so was Ben sent to the scent pad again?
Yes, sir.
And what did Ben do on that run?
Okay, in that run, I switched his direction, and I started him from the clockwise. So in this particular run, he was actually going from left to right on the screen, and the indications I gave was on the driver's side of this vehicle and the passenger side of the vehicle belonging to Ms. Bergfield.
So Ben gave a positive indication on the driver's side of Page's vehicle,
Yes, sir.
and again on the passenger side?
Yes, sir.
And that's an indication to the defendant, Lester Jones,
Yes, sir.
or at least the scent pad that was prepared from his clothes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you say, I guess we should clarify, when you say positive indication, what do you mean?
For me, a positive indication is the dog has, the scent I have told the dog to look for, he has found a match to that scent.
And how does he indicate that to you?
Various ways. His trained indication is a down, but if he gets really excited, he'll actually come and start clawing at me. He'll actually jump up and start with his feet. And then when I say show me, he takes me back to what is his focus point, and then he'll down again.
Okay. And is that the activity that you saw out of Ben on this day?
Yes, sir.
And in particular, what activity did you see out of Ben?
For Ben, it was the down on the sides of the vehicle, and then he'll get excited. He'll begin to jump on me and begin to bark sometimes.
And he did that on August 3rd, 2007?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Did you go to another location and do some runs at a different location?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, if I could approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
And for the record, I've shown these to the defense.
Thank you.
I've shown you people's 473E and F. Can you tell us what those are, please?
These are interior shots of a part of the, I call it the impound storage yard, what I took to be called the Pepsi building, and they are a interior lock storage facility that the sheriff's office uses.
Okay. It was referred to you by them as the Pepsi building?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are those accurate photographs of the interior of that building?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer people's 473E and F.
Mr. Colburn. 473E and F are both admitted.
Your Honor, may we publish those?
Any objection? It's fine, thank you.
Ms. Platts, which exhibit are we looking at there?
We're looking at Exhibit 473E as in Edward, and this is a depiction of several vehicles within the Pepsi building.
Okay. Was that pretty much the condition they were in when you were there?
Pretty much there was vehicles parked in there. On the one vehicle that we see in the center, it did not have that yellow tape around it at the time that I ran my dogs.
Okay. So this photograph was maybe taken at some other time?
It was probably taken prior to our arrival.
Okay. But does it, other than the police tape, does that accurately depict that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so did you run Ben at that location?
Yes, sir.
And with respect to the fourth run that you did then, first one at this location, what did you do with Ben?
Ben was scented on the dress scent pad belonging to Ms. Bergfield, and as I had done with the other previous runs, I worked him counterclockwise. So we started on the left-hand side and we started on the right-hand side and worked to the left side of this building. He was off lead, and he was performing an independent search, and I had sent him on the pads and gave him the command to go find.
Okay. And what did Ben do on that run?
Ben was working down along the vehicle line. When he he was working on the backside of most of these vehicles. When he got to this vehicle here on the back passenger rear bumper area, his searching behavior changed. He got very, high head, like he's smelling something, but he couldn't pin it down to a specific, like a spot. And then as he kept working down the line, this behavior ceased. I reversed him to work back up the line. And again, the behavior started when he became to the back of this white Dodge crew cab pickup right here. And that was the only vehicle that I had that, it's like he smelled something, but very faint, very weak.
Couple of things. With respect to that vehicle, did you later find out who owned that vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
It's belonged to Mr. Jones.
Okay. And with respect to what you just told us, would you consider that a positive indication or not?
It's an indication that this was the only vehicle that the dog behaved in a changed manner. But he did not give his down, he did not give his trained indication, but there was clearly something odd with the vehicle because the dog's behavior changed only with this particular vehicle.
Okay. And again, at this location, would you then rest the dog?
Yes, sir. If there was another search we were going to perform, maybe with a different scent pad, I would definitely rest the dog.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Watson. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibits 473G and H. Ms. Platts, was that yet a third location at which you performed some searches with your dogs?
Yes, sir.
And what did those pictures show us?
The first picture, 473G, shows the outside of Bob Scott's RV building. And the second picture shows from the standing, I believe I took these pictures. I'm actually in the roadway in front of Bob Scott's RV, and it's a shot to the rear left-hand corner of the building.
Are those accurate depictions of that area on August 3rd, 2007?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer People's 473 G and H.
Any objection, Mr. Colvin? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No objection, sir.
Thank you. 473 G and H are both admitted.
And may we publish those?
Any objection?
No objection, sir.
That's fine. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Platts, what are we looking at there?
This is an exterior shot of Bob Scott's RV business let's locate it on Grand Park Road.
Okay, and you said the other photograph was another perspective of that?
Right, yes, sir. As you're facing the building is a perspective off to this direction at about the 11 o'clock view from this building.
Ms. Watson, could we publish the other one and then go back to this one? So this was also another shot that you took, is that right?
Yes, sir. So Bob Scott's RV building is over on this side of the picture, and this is the Walker SMS building that's located down the road and on the left.
At the time you took those photographs, did you have an idea of any significance with respect to the Walker SMS building?
These were photographs that were taken the next day after the other two runs. At the time I did the runs, I did not understand the significance, but I took them in the daytime because I couldn't really take night pictures.
Okay. So so you took them the next day?
Yes, sir.
But you did the runs on August 3rd, 2007?
Friday night, yes, sir.
Okay, and at the time you did the runs, you didn't understand any significance to that view? if you will?
That view or this location, correct.
Okay. Now if we could go back to the other one, please. Thank you. So on the fifth run that you did with Ben that day, what did you do?
So we were there at night, and so with Ben, the scent pad I was using was based on from the dress of Miss Bergfield, and I scented the dog. May I stand? Or just
would
use
it-
a
It's
pointer?
fine,
Hey,
as
she
long
is.
as
Okay.
you just need to have a microphone pointed towards you, so.
So I started my dog at this intersection here, 23rd Road and Grand Parks, on Miss Bergfield's scent.
Okay. And what did the dog do?
The dog went up to the front of the business, continued on past the business, down the road, approximately 3 businesses, reversed, came back up on the left side, Grand Parks, so we're on the other side of the street. He turned down one side street in front of a couple businesses, turned back around, came back up to the front of Bob Scott's RV, went back out to 23rd Road, went up slightly, reversed back, went down 23rd Road heading towards G, reversed slightly, and then came back up to Bob Scott's RV and just stopped.
Okay. What did that behavior indicate to you, if anything?
What that behavior indicated to me was that her odor was in this location, but that he could not locate an exit track for that odor out.
Okay. So he was scented to Paige Bergfeld, and her odor was there. He just couldn't give a specific area, or?
He couldn't leave. He couldn't find an exit track out for her odor.
Okay. All right. Did you also do another run in that same area with Jack?
Yes, sir, I did.
And again, Jack's kind of the same kind of dog as Ben.
Yes, sir.
In between these runs, was Ben watching Jack or Jack watching Ben? How did that work?
Well, we had a rental car, so would have been in the rental car between runs.
Okay. What was the weather like when you were here?
The weather this night, it was no rain, warm, because this was July, end of August, first part of July. Kind of breezy, but nothing unusual as far as working conditions.
Okay. So as you would work each dog, the other dog would be inside the car,
Yes, sir.
doors closed,
Yes, sir.
air conditioning on, I assume?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. So tell us about Jack, and this would be Jack's first run since you had arrived.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you do with Jack?
Okay, for Jack, I scented him, because I started Ben at this side of the building, I scented Jack on this corner of the building over here. Next to this, there's a dumpster here and that. At the time, there was a dumpster there. And then scented him. He went in front of Bob Scott's RV and turned right on 23rd Road. And at 23rd Road, he continued down 23rd and turned into a gravel parking lot behind the Walker SMS building. And at that point, he searched around through that location. He went to the left, he went to the right, he went around this particular building, and then came back through the gravel lot and went through a sagebrush field or a brushy field down to what would be G, and then came back on G up to 23rd and came back up to the front of Bob Scott's RV and down the road slightly in front of Bob Scott's RV and then just stopped. And so for me, again, it's an indication that her scent is in this location, but again, he could not find an exit trail out of that area.
Okay. So was it a positive indication for her scent or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that the last run you did on August 3rd?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you started doing some runs again on the next day, on August 4th?
Yes, sir.
And what time of day did you guys start working on August 4th?
It would have been probably late middle morning. I'm not sure the exact time we started. It was daytime.
Okay. Which dog did you use first on August 4th?
I used Ben.
Okay. And what was the first run or task you did with Ben?
The first task was to see if, in fact, Ms. Bergfield's odor was located on, we had her odor at the exterior of the building. The idea was to see if her odor was also on the interior of this building.
Okay. Were you guys allowed to go into Bob Scott on that day?
Yes, sir.
And that was a Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Did somebody let you in, or how did you guys get into the building? Do you remember?
You have to ask Mesa County Sheriff's Office who allowed us access, but we were able to access the building.
Okay. So Ben was scented for Paige's scent.
Yes, sir.
And did you go inside Bob Scott's?
Yes, sir.
And what did Ben do?
When he first entered the building, he was searching, but his behavior was very distracted. Really not what I was used to seeing with him when he was performing an active search, so I took him back out of the building, and he had an episode of diarrhea. So I put him back up for about 20 minutes to let him rest. And then when I brought him back out, the other person ran their dog. And then after that, I brought him back out. And then he performed typical, engaged searching of the building, which included the showrooms, the service bays, the offices, and the toilet of that building.
Okay. Any alerts inside the building?
No, sir.
Okay. Didn't find anything in the building?
He indicated no match to her odor in the building.
Okay. All right. Did you change dogs at that point?
Yes, sir.
And did you go to a different location?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could take that down, Ms. Watson. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibits 473I and J. And I've previously shown these to the defense. Ms. Platts, was that the next location that you guys went to?
Yes, sir.
And are those accurate photos of that area?
Yes, sir.
Describe the area. What is it? What's over there?
The first picture, 473I, we are standing in the back gravel parking lot of the Walker SMS building, looking towards Bob Scott's RV building.
Okay.
And then the second picture is slightly right, and what it shows is we're still in the gravel parking lot, and it shows the brushy field located behind the Walker building.
Are those accurate depictions of that area?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer 473I and J, please.
Mr. Colvin.
No objection and no objection then we publish.
Thank you. 473I and J are both admitted. Feel free to publish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ms. Watson, if we can. What are we looking at here, Ms. Platts?
The first picture is 473I, and we're standing in the gravel parking lot behind the Walker SMS building, and the building that we see in the picture is the back of Bob Scott's RV.
And you did another run with Jack at that time?
Yes, sir.
And what was Jack sent it to?
Jack was sent it to the scent pad for the Mr. Jones's brown shorts.
Okay. What did Jack do?
Jack, we started on the back corner. We're actually in the edge of the building, and we started at the back corner, and when I sent it to him, he left. He went across this gravel parking lot, across the road, to the back fence here, came along the back fence, goes to the front of the building, goes to the front door momentarily, comes to the parking lot, hesitates slightly, and then exits the area on 23, heading towards G Street.
Okay. So he goes down through the parking lot there at Walker SMS
Yes, sir.
and goes down along the fence line by Bob Scott RV?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you said hesitated at the front of Bob Scott RV
Yes, sir.
and then headed off kind of back towards 23 Road.
Yes, sir. He was leaving the area.
Was that as you indicated, was that a positive indication?
Yes, sir. That's a positive track.
Okay. Sent it to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you said where you started him was kind of in the back corner. Is that kind of behind where the perspective that we're looking at in the photograph?
Yes, sir, it's actually standing, it's behind me. I'm actually in front of, there was off in this one corner, there's a bunch of metal, maybe like old air conditioning units or something like that. And so those items in the little smoking cabana are actually to my rear,
Okay.
so as I'm facing Bob Scart's.
So you're around the corner of the Walker SMS building?
Slightly around the corner, at that corner, yes.
Okay. And that's where you start, and that's where your dog Jack started to trail?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On that particular day, do you remember what the weather was like?
The weather is as you see it, because I took these pictures at the time.
Hot day?
Medium warm, yes.
Okay. Wind blowing at all that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much of a wind did you have?
Probably between 10 and 20 miles per hour, if I had to guess.
Based on what you observed Jack to do, did the weather have any impact on what he appeared to do?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Did you do another run with Jack at that same location?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And on the second run that you did, what did you do with Jack?
I started at the same location that I did with the previous scent article, but this time the scent article was a scent pad that I took from the driver's side of Mrs. Bergfield's car that had been consumed with fire.
Okay. Yeah, you indicated that you had made a scent pad from the driver's seat of that car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so what did Jack do? You scented him to that pad?
Yes, sir.
And what did he do?
He left from this location when I crossed the parking lot, worked down along the fence line here by Bob Scott's RV, went to the front door, around the side of the building, into the lot, and then came back out, and then basically just stood in front of the building and stopped.
Okay, so it stopped right there.
Yes, sir, he self-halted.
That a positive indication of that scent?
It's a positive indication that he had an odor from the driver's seat of that car, but that it was in the area, but it didn't leave the area.
To that location?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then did you do another search in that same area with the other dog, Ben?
Yes, sir.
What did you do with Ben that day?
That day, same location, it was a cadaver search.
Okay. And what kind of, do you give a different indication to Ben than you talked about earlier, or what's the?
No, sir, it's a search command find, Hope.
Okay.
And again, he was working off lead,
Okay.
and so he was not on a harness or anything like that.
Okay. And did Ben give any indication at that time?
No, sir.
Okay, so nothing at that point?
Nothing that he indicated on.
Okay. Did you go to another location and do some other runs?
Yes, sir.
We can take that down, Ms. Watson, thank you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibits 473K, L, and M. Your Honor, may I approach?
Would it be possible, it looks like on the list we have possible number of these, if you want to just leave them up there and maybe save some trips?
I'm just kind of doing it with the sections, and these are the last three, actually, Judge, so.
Okay, thank you. You can approach.
Thank you, Judge. And I've previously shown these to the
Thank you.
defense. Now, Ms. Platts, did you start doing, you indicated that you started doing some runs at a different location?
Yes, sir.
And before we get into those photographs, did you do some runs around the Highway 50 area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you guys start doing those runs?
We were taken to a location near where some of her personal items had been recovered off the side of the road, which would be south of Canna on US 50.
Okay, Canna, so like Canna Creek perhaps, or?
Possibly.
Does that sound right? On Highway 50, and what did you start doing at that point?
On that point, I brought him out of the car. We walked we did a little our starting search perimeter that we walked before I harnessed him, and then gave him a scent article belonging to the dress of Miss Bergfield.
Okay. And did he start to track?
Yes, sir.
And when are we talking about Jack or Ben?
Talking Jack.
Okay. So did he start to trail?
Yes, sir, he did.
Where did he go?
He continued on the southbound side of US 50.
Okay, heading towards Delta?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that an indication to you of a positive trail that he was following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do something different at that point to follow that trail down Highway 50?
No, sir, it's the normal way I start all of my trails. I mean,
Okay. Did you just trail all the way down Highway 50, or was there something, some other tactic that you used to get down the highway from there?
We do a technique, it's called jump tracking, and that basically, once the dog has a scent, we know the scent continues along a roadway, we will put the dog into a vehicle and move them down to areas where a car could exit or leave the highway, and we drop the dog out, we bring the dog back out of the car, have them indicate to us whether the trail continues on along the roadway or if it turns off onto one of these other drives.
Okay, so you're not running the entire length of Highway 50 down
No,
in
sir.
that direction?
No, sir.
Okay. You're stopping the dog at places where somebody could take a side road off of the highway,
Yes, sir.
and then you're sending the dog past that point to see if there's a further scent?
Yes, sir.
And do you continue with Jack to go down Highway 50?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As Jack goes down Highway 50, is there a point at which he turns off of the highway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where is that?
It was I do not know the exact mileage marker. There was a cattle guard there. He turned off to enter into this field area. I stopped him, brought him back out to the road, just recasted, and he was intent on turning back into that field. So I stopped him and conferred with my law enforcement flanker to make sure I had access, because this is private property, that we would be allowed to continue on to the private property.
Okay, and did you do that then?
Yes, sir.
And how far onto the private property did Jack go?
He went quite a distance, basically heading towards what would be the Gunnison River, and we continued on. I didn't know exactly where the river was located. I just knew that we were heading in a specific direction, and we continued that direction until the flanker's vehicle could no longer keep up. Their terrain features would not allow the vehicle to continue.
Okay. And so did you stop the track at that point?
I stopped the track at that point, and I asked the officer what was ahead of us, and he replied that it was the Gunnison River ahead of us.
Okay. So did you take Jack and Ben back to the highway again and start over back at Highway 50?
Yes, sir. We actually moved him at that point down to what would be before the entrance, the gravel entrance to Bridgeport, what was Bridgeport Road.
Okay. Now, I've shown you those last three exhibits. I've forgotten the numbers.
473K is we're staying on Highway 50 looking at the Bridgeport Road that goes into the Gunnison River Park area.
Okay.
The next exhibit, 473I, or excuse me, L, is just part of the road that goes through the canyons heading to the Gunnison River. 473M is in the parking lot of the Gunnison River Park, and we're looking towards the railroad trestle and the path that leads down to the river.
Those accurate depictions of that area?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, I now for those three exhibits.
No objection, and them being published.
All right, 473 K, L, and M as in Mary are all admitted. Feel free to publish. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
If we could publish those. What are we looking at there, ma'am?
This is marked as 473K. This is the start of Bridgeport Road as it goes into the Gunnison Canyon
Okay.
River area.
Next, please, Ms. Watson.
This is a part of the access road still on our way to the river.
So the first one we saw that we're kind of headed along through some fields and so forth, does it then drop down into this canyon that we're looking at now?
This is Bridgeport Road going
Okay.
through the canyon area.
Okay. And then lastly?
This is in the parking lot of the park, and that is a railroad trestle, and there are steps that lead down under the railroad trestle, and then the river is just beyond it.
Did you do some work with Jack and Ben in this Bridgeport Road area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with respect to, let's talk about Jack first. What did Jack do in this area?
I started him before we actually got to the Bridgeport Road. We were still on Highway 50. Rescented him, turned him, basically, told him to, go to work. And he continued on along the highway, and then he turned on, right onto Bridgeport Road.
Okay. He go all the way down Bridgeport Road?
He went until about halfway, and then he became fatigued, and I swapped him out for Canine Ben.
Okay. And so, at that point, you stop Jack and you start Ben?
Yes, sir.
Did you send Ben to the same scent that you had sent to Jack?
Yes, sir.
And which scent are they operating on at that?
They're working off of the dress scent pad.
For Page Brookville?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what does Ben do?
When I stop or start a new dog on a track that a previous dog has worked, which in this case was Jack, my standard practice is when, if Jack was heading from left to right, then I would actually face Ben a different direction. So he has to make a conscious choice of which direction he wants to work in. In this case, he turned and continued on Jack's track heading from left to right, which would be continuing on Bridgeport Road towards the river.
Okay. When you got to the river, what did he do?
He went across the parking lot, down the steps, and began to go under the railroad trestle.
Okay.
And then we were stopped at that point by law enforcement because of low light conditions and safety concerns.
Okay. Did you do any other tracks with Jack or Ben that day?
Yes, sir.
What other tracks did you do?
We went back out to US 50, and then I went to the next road down on US 50 South.
Past Bridgeport Road?
Past Bridgeport Road.
Okay.
I did my starting perimeter, and then harnessed and sent the dog onto the dress scent article.
And what did Jack do?
Nothing. He didn't go anywhere. For him, he indicated that he did not have a scent to follow at that point.
Okay. Did you do anything else with Jack?
Yes, sir. We went down one more road to Dominguez Canyon Road, and we did the same thing. I dropped him out, did my starting perimeter, harnessed him, sent him also on the same dress scent article, and again, he went nowhere. He just stood there.
Okay, so no indication at that point either?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do one last run with Ben that day?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go to do that last run?
We were taken over to Sanford Drive by some storage facility that was on that road, and we sent him on the brown shorts scent pad.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones's scent article.
Okay, and what did you do?
Ben went down along the Sanford Road. He turned into a hotel parking lot called Westgate Inn. He went in front of some rooms, turned around the end of the building, came up on some other rooms, and he indicated on 3 rooms in that complex, which was rooms 117, 118, and 119, which most of his interest was on rooms 117 and 119.
Okay. So was that a positive indication?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's an indication in a completely different area out by the Westgate Inn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that all the runs you did with both dogs on August 4th?
Yes, sir.
Let's move to August 5th. On August 5th, did you guys work that same Bridgeport area?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and was the first run you did with Jack?
Yes, sir.
Who was Jack sent it to?
He was sent it to the brown shorts scent article belonging to Mr. Jones.
Okay, and where were you located at that point?
We were actually in the park area.
The parking area down by Bridgeport Road?
Back where at the parking area at the Gunnison River area.
Okay. It's the same area we just saw a picture of?
Yes, sir, with the
For the
railroad
most-
trestle.
Okay. And what did Jack do when scented on the defendant?
I actually started him on where Bridgeport Road before we actually entered the gravel parking area. I sent him on the shorts, and he took trail. He went across the parking lot, down the steps, under the railroad trestle, to the river. Then he indicated, he became showing signs of indication of cadaver odor in the area. and I redirected him to stay back on live scent. He then left, went back up the under the railroad trestle, back up the stairs, back across the parking lot, and started going down Bridgeport Road, heading towards US 50.
Okay, so let me get this straight. He was scented to the defendant,
Yes, sir.
followed the scent down under the railroad trestle and down to the river,
Yes, sir.
and then you said he started to act like he was looking for cadaver. What does that mean?
As you train with the dogs and work with them, they will give a certain characteristical odor or behavior that I have learned when working with him and training with him, that when he exhibits these body language changes, it's consistent with being in the odor of human remains or,
Okay.
or cadaver smell.
Okay. So he kind of switched over at that point,
Yes, sir.
and then you switched him back.
Yeah.
I told him to go with the live scent after all,
Yes, sir.
and he went back under the trestle, back up onto the road, and headed out on Bridgeport Road?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you scent Ben in that same area?
Yes, sir.
And who was Ben scented to?
Ben was sent to the dress pad for the dress belonging to Miss Bergfield.
Okay. And what did Ben do?
I started him in the same similar area I started Jack, which was off on the Bridgeport Road before it actually entered the gravel parking lot. Ben took trail, he entered the parking lot, went down the steps under the bridge trestle to the river, and then basically halted. He would not leave the area.
Okay. But certainly followed a trail.
Yes, sir.
Sent it to Paige Bergfeld down towards the river,
Yes, sir.
but then stopped.
Yes, sir.
What does that indicate to you?
It's what I call a terminal trail. It's a trail that, it's dead end. It goes and just stops, which means I don't have a live scent exit trail.
Okay. No live scent exit trail?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you also scent Ben then to cadaver?
Yes, sir.
And what happened with that?
He became really overly playful. He wasn't working. He was more interested in just, having a little bit of fun, so I stopped him and put him up, and I brought out Canine Jack.
Okay. So dogs occasionally just start to play and act up and don't want to work.
Yes, sir. It's a moment of fun, a tedious task.
Okay. All right. So you brought Jack out instead
Yes, sir.
and scented Jack to the cadaver, or asked Jack to find cadaver?
Yes, sir.
And what did Jack do?
We started in the parking lot, and he turned across the parking lot, down the steps, under the railroad trestle to the area where I call the canoe egress road. There was some driftwood logs and stuff there, and basically had a positive cadaver indication.
Okay. So that was down by the Gunnison River?
Yes, sir.
What does he do at that point to indicate positively that he smells cadaver?
He's got kind of an active alert. He'll also sit, but most of the time he digs at it. He will paw, and just the behavior. He's trying to enter the river. He can't. But all the body language is consistent with being in cadaver odor.
Okay. So he certainly gave that indication there at the river?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do one last run with Jack?
Yes, sir.
And what was the last run you did with Jack?
The last run was back at Bridgeport Road at US 50 on the southbound side, and I sent Jack back on the brown shorts belonging to Mr. Jones. Jack crossed over US 50 south to US 50 north and turned north to come back up towards Grand Junction.
Okay. Didn't turn south,
No, sir.
went across the highway and turned left to go north?
Yes, sir.
Towards Grand Junction?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any explanation for why that would happen?
It's the exit track out, if that, as far as he is trained to default to the freshest scent. So the freshest scent for him was going north on US 50.
Okay, so if a car came out of Bridgeport Road and turned right, went for a few miles, and then came back around and went left and went on up to Grand Junction, which trail would he be likely to follow?
He'd be likely to follow the fresher, which is the exit track back up on US 50, heading north.
And is that what he did?
Yes, sir.
Did you track him back up the side of Highway 50 all the way back up, like you had done coming down?
Pretty much, we ended up stopping at two, we had two roads that we indicated that we stopped at, but we were basically checking the road on all the access points from US 50 that somebody could have driven off the road and then come back onto US 50 North.
Okay. Was there any indication, any positive indications that someone had gone down any of the side roads coming back to Grand Junction?
There was only one place that Jack actually left the road and went in further than he had with any of the other areas he was checking in. But that area was locked by a gate, and so we could not access it.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could have just a moment.
Yes, you may.
Judge, I may have another couple of questions. I'd like to look things over real briefly. Could we take the break now?
Time for a break?
Yeah, I think it's a good time
Okay.
for a break.
Sounds good. We'll take our afternoon break just for about 10 minutes. Please remember the instructions for the recesses. Please rise for our jury. Thank you. Our jury's left the courtroom. Will be in recess until 3:15, please.
Thank you, Jack.
And thank you.